Hello, welcome to the Math Success Workshop. This is part 6 where we talk about seeking help with your math class. Right? So, do you ever ask for help with math? And then who could you ask for help if you don't, or who do you ask for help if you do get help with it? So let's talk about some of the people that you could ask for help with your math class. Right? First thing, if you need help, you have to ask, right? Don't be embarrassed. Don't say like, oh, this means I'm stupid because I don't know how to do this and I need help with it. You can't feel that way, because if you've watched the other videos I've done, I mentioned in one of the other videos, like everybody has trouble at some point along the way learning things, especially in math classes. There's hardly any people out there that haven't struggled with at least one or two topics in math along the way. So you don't feel embarrassed. Don't feel like there's anything wrong with you that you don't understand something. Just go get help with it. Right? There are people that are around that are there with the express purpose of helping you, but they can't help you unless you ask. Right? So you have to just go ahead and ask for help. Say, hey, I can't do this. Can you please help me out? There are people around who can help you. Also, don't wait. Right? Math is cumulative. I've also mentioned this in a couple of the other videos in this Math Success Workshop that I've done already. But math is cumulative. It builds on itself. So the stuff you're doing this week is the basis of the stuff that comes up next week, which is the basis of the stuff that comes up the week after that. It just keeps building on itself. So if something this week doesn't make sense to you and you don't get help with it, you don't get it cleared up, and then next week when you're using that stuff to learn something else, that's not going to make any sense either, right? Because this fundamental thing you're doing this week, you don't know, you don't understand. So when you need to use that as a building block for something else, you're going to end up getting completely lost, right? So if you do need help with something, don't wait too long, right? Don't wait until the night before a test and then walk into a tutor and say, hey, I need you to teach me everything because I don't understand anything. People do that. Like I tutor, and people do come in sometimes and say, I have a test tomorrow and I haven't understood anything for the past month. It never ends well for those people. Right? Because a tutor is not going to be able to teach you everything in just an hour or two, right? So don't wait. If there's things you don't understand, go get help immediately. Don't wait till the last minute. All right, so people you could ask for help. First, and probably the easiest people to approach would be classmates, right? People who are in your class, or maybe people who are in a different section of the same class or have the same professor. You can work with classmates. You can form study groups with your classmates. Get together once, twice, 3 times a week. Every night, if you're able to, would be even better. And just get together and do homework problems, study together, help each other out. Right? Your classmates are a really good resource. You can all help each other. Right? Probably not any single person in that class knows it all, right, or understands every single thing that's going on. But if you get a group of people together, you can kind of play off each other's strengths and weaknesses, and everybody can kind of rise up together and help each other out, right? So forming study groups with your classmates is a really good thing to do. Next, you can go to your professor's office hours, email your professor and ask for help. Your professor is another really good person to ask, because your professor is the one who's teaching the class. So they know exactly what's been going on in class. They know exactly how well you're doing or not doing on your quizzes and homeworks and tests and stuff, and they know exactly what's coming up on the upcoming quizzes and tests, so they can really steer you in the right direction as far as what you need to concentrate on and what you need to practice more, and maybe what's not so important. So your professor, a lot of college students especially are, I don't know if it's intimidated by their professors, or they don't see their professors as human beings, so they don't really want to approach them. But most professors, and math professors especially, I've seen, are really friendly people. A lot of math professors are like super smart, and sometimes people are like, well, they're so smart, like if I ask them this stupid question, they're going to think that I'm an idiot. They won't, right? They're there to help you. Math professors actually complain all the time about how few students come in to ask them for help. Right? I hear all the time. I teach math, so I'm in the math department, so I talk to the other math instructors, and like when we have department meetings, like almost every single time, at least one of the professors says, oh, my students need so much help, but none of them ever come to ask me for the help. Why don't they come ask me for help? Like, they want you to come ask for help, right? They're expecting you to do that. That's part of their job, is to help you outside of class time if you need it, right? You just have to take the initiative and go ask them for help. All right, so another really good resource is your math professor's office hours. Some classes offer supplemental instruction. What that is usually not your your actual professor or your actual instructor, but another person who might be another teacher at the school, or maybe it's like a graduate student who's working there and doing this supplemental instruction on the side. Maybe it's like a tutor who's doing supplemental instruction, but it's a person who comes to class either once in a while or all the time, who knows what's going on in class, and then sets up sometimes outside of class to help the students in that class with the material that they're doing. Right, so supplemental instructors usually have their own hours at some point where you can go and see them to get help with homework or to review stuff that happened in class or to study for quizzes or tests. Right, so if your class does have a supplemental instructor, that's another really good resource you can use to go and ask for help. Math lab, right, a math tutoring center, a place you can go where you can work with a tutor. Another good thing you can do. Academic officers, right, if you have an academic officer, then you might either they could help you, or if they're not that good at math, maybe they know somebody who is. Maybe they have a friend who's good at math, or they have a friend who's a math major. So maybe they can hook you up with somebody who can help you out or give you advice, or maybe they've taken a class with that professor before, so they can tell you a little bit about what to expect. So it's another person you could approach to ask for help. And then this isn't really a person you could ask for help, but you could also ask the internet. You can always go online and search for things. I put the internet far down on the list here because really you should be doing those other things first. Like you should be working with your classmates or seeing your professor or seeing math tutors or something like that before you resort to the internet. Right? The internet is kind of like a last-ditch effort. This homework is due tomorrow morning and it's 2 a.m. and I really need to get it done, and it's too late for me to ask any of these other people for help, so let me go on the internet and see if I can get some help there. Right? But there are lots of resources on the internet. Some are better than others, as with most other things on the internet. So if you find a good site on the internet, or you find something that works and is giving you good information, you might want to bookmark that site and go back to it if you need help again with something else. But you can find some pretty good resources on the internet. Sometimes you have to wade through the garbage, though, to get to the good stuff, which is why the internet is kind of far down on the list. All right, and then the last thing on here about seeking help, you're having trouble in class, you're like, okay, I'm going to work with my classmates, I'm going to go to office hours, I'm going to go see a tutor, I'm going to get this help, right? But don't think that just doing those things is like, okay, now I'm going to get an A in this class, right? Don't expect somebody else to save the day or do all the work for you. You still have to put in the work in order to learn the material, right? The classmates, the professor's office hours, the tutors, the supplemental instructors, they're there to point you in the right direction, or like kind of give you a little nudge in the right direction, or to like answer questions that you have, but they're not going to just do it all for you, right? You can't have those people like sit down and take a test for you. You still need to be able to do the problems yourself. You still have to understand how to do the math yourself, so you still need to put in the work to do that, right? These people are just there to kind of help you along the way, kind of smooth out any bumps in the road that you come into, but don't expect them to just, all right, I'm going to see a tutor now, everything's fine, I'm going to get an A. You still have to put the work into it. Okay, so that's just one thing I wanted to point out here. It is good to seek help from people, but still, ultimately, it's up to you as far as how well you do in your math class. Right? The more work you put into it, the better off you're probably going to be. And part of putting that work into it is seeking help from these different types of people if you need it. All right. So that's the video we have here on seeking help. There's going to be one more video in this series where we talk about habits that people have in math class. We'll talk about bad habits and also good habits. So make sure you check out that last video. It's kind of like a review of all the things we've talked about in these other videos, just kind of like a summary all put together. All right, so make sure you check that one out.